Leafs Talk, JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. Hey, dude, I just tweeted it. That's a big win for the Leafs to keep things quiet over narrative week, which it absolutely would have been.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now they don't have to talk about Sheldon Keefe's job security or the power play slump or Nylander and his contract since the contract. All those things sort of go away into lovely, lovely All-Star weekend. Tons of ways we can go about this game. Where do you want to start?
We can still talk about Nylander if you want, but we'll leave that. It was too good a night. I don't know. Like, I'm still have the image of the guy with the boiler burned into my mind at the end of the game.
Yeah,
like, that's all I'm thinking about at this very moment. But what happened?
Put it up. Put it up.
But if we got
Well, I just want to say, yeah, that's a beautiful image, dude. It's all I think of is prison there, where it's like put him on the glass. You know, that's all I think of.
All right, we can take it off. Sorry, that's all I've been thinking about.
I don't care if you leave that up forever. All I'll say is I love Leafs playing Western Canada teams. Like, do I love the Bell Center game? Do I think that's the number one thing? Is if there's heat, there's juice in the building for the Bell Center for Leafs Habs? No question. That's number one. Sens Leafs, it almost feels like it's a bullying situation because the Leafs just take over their arena every single time, and the Sens right now just can't get off the mat.
Yeah.
But Western Canada, these games, this is kind of sneaky my favorite part of the entire year is when the Leafs go through all these arenas and it is just red hot Super Bowl night for the town. There's everybody that's a Leaf fan is chomping at the bit to get those tickets. And I've been in Western Canada. I've gone to some of these games and the atmosphere, the trash talk, it's the best. Nothing beats these games. And so awesome night for those Leaf fans who are living in the Peg, who get hammered nonstop. Like, I know that you see a lot of Leaf fans at that game, but I'm telling you, if you live there, you're the one guy at work who gets hammered about being a Leafs fan nonstop. And so the bragging rights for that guy going to work in the Paw, Manitoba on Monday, massive stakes. So good on the Leafs for getting it.
Yeah, like, no matter what, no matter how inconsistent you are for the rest of the year, the Leafs, and like people are chirping you if you go through a losing streak, if you're a Leaf fan in Winnipeg, be like, yeah, bud, how'd the home and home go?
Scoreboard. Yeah.
How'd the home and home go, pal? Like, that's all you can say. It's just like, eat that one, pal. Like, I got nothing else for you. But I would be lying if I said that my biggest takeaway from this game, I mean, it's awesome to get the 4 points against Winnipeg, who's been one of the best teams in the league all year. It's clearly
Can I just
great.
ask you one question about that?
Yeah, sure.
How?
I don't know.
They stink.
I was trying to. Oh, you mean like the Jets in general, like how they?
Yeah, like that team was a complete non-threat this entire 2-game series, and I know that their style is this is the way it was built: offense versus defense, and they grind you out. And I'll admit, they're actually a team that I see less games of because of some of their regional restrictions, but also just the start time. There's overlaps, right? I watch more Western hockey that's just like 10 o'clock starts times than I do the Jets games. But boy, oh boy, that power play that they roll out there.
They had that streak, right? They were 34 straight games of 3 goals or less. It's like that's how you win a lot of games. You don't let in any goals. You have a really good goalie, and you get timely scoring. Clearly, Scheifele's been out for these 2 games, and they flashed up that graphic where it's like he's obviously very important to them when they play. Like, I think they're under 500. It's a small sample size. I think it's like 2 and 3 without him, but he's clearly very important to them. He can't be that important. I don't know. I think that's just kind of who they are. I think they're just a little bit, like their scoring could go away pretty easy in a playoff series to me. Like, they really could, but their defense is obviously good. Hellebuck to me, before I get to what I wanted to say, this could be a controversial take, but like, how do you, like, what's the rule for goaltender equipment size these days?
Oh, wow. You're really doing that on Leafs Talk, eh? You're going to come. So Toronto takes 2 wins from the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
They go into their barn, they beat them.
Yeah. I just thought it was in my mind. It was a thought that was in my mind. How big is Hellebuck's gear? Did he boil old Sean Burke's gear? Like,
starts the episode like he's measuring the curve of Jason Svetz's stick.
Is that a rule anymore? Like, can you do that?
He's a big lad. I don't notice his gear being bigger.
Anyways, we can move.
I don't notice it. Yeah, well, listen. I'm sure it's up to code. All right.
Okay. But the thing that I actually am thinking about the most, and I hate to admit it, is Ryan Reaves. I really loved it for him tonight because both of us were really excited about the signing. We were happy that they brought him in. We were both a little bit worried, I'd say, about the term, but we were both, excited about having Ryan Reaves in the Leafs. Clearly off to an awful start. He was really bad. He doesn't play for a couple weeks when they're in Sweden or whatever. Comes back, gets back in the lineup, gets hurt. Tons of talk about him, being done, going to the minors, being done. Calle Jarnkrok gets hurt a day before they go to his hometown. And the guy, give him credit, gets him to the lineup, makes an awesome play where he outskates Josh Morrissey, one of the best players, one of the best defensemen in the league, digs out a puck, gets position in front of the net, makes a great tip in his hometown in his return, scrums it up at the end. Like, I'm not making any proclamations about what this means for his future and how much he's going to play or any of that stuff. I just thought it was an awesome night for Reaves, and I'm happy for the guy because I want to love him, and I loved him tonight.
I'll make some proclamations. It will do absolutely, as Conor McGregor would say, absolutely nothing. It's going to do nothing.
That's fine with me, but I loved it tonight. I really did.
I'm glad he had a moment. A moment with the Leafs. You could tell that he had jump. He better be rested. He hasn't played
in like a month. Yeah.
Really long time. So it looked like he had fresh legs. Didn't look like one of the oldest players in the NHL. And credit. I got nothing else to add to that other than he's clearly someone that a lot of people, when he got signed, were rooting for to have success. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think that there's too many. There were some, obviously, that go, that's a bad contract, and why do you do that? And even you and I looked at it and went, whoa, 3 years? Who are you competing against? And I guess Minnesota offered him 2, and that's the way he ended up with 3 here in Toronto. And I know it can be buried and blah, 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 blah. But everyone, when that happened, and he first started going around with the quotes, I would assume wanted it to work out. Likable guy, enjoyable character, someone who's not afraid to say something to the media. And that's the one good game he's played for the Leafs so far.
Yeah.
Like he's got a good game under his belt. So good for him. I just, if you're telling me, I don't want to spin this into any kind of negative, but if you're telling me that this did anything in terms of changing his playing time, I would actually hope not, because that is the anomaly. That is not something that I think he's like building off of. That's not now you should keep him in there. I thought that was the perfect situation. It's his hometown team. It's him not having played for a long time. He's forced into the lineup. It's a team that's been gritty and tough to play against and always has a little bit of bite against the Maple Leafs. So good for him. But frankly, if I'm just being painfully honest, I hope that he's waived by the time we get back and everybody's healthy.
Yeah. So Jarnkrok is going to be out for a while. He's got a broken hand. So, I mean, he won't get waived.
That's what it was?
Yeah,
I totally missed that.
Yeah, broken knuckle or something. So he's going to be out for a long time. Like probably
never mind the wave thing. He's playing
4 to 5 weeks. He's going to be playing. So I just listen, like you said, you're bang on in all your analysis. I just loved it tonight. I thought he was a factor.
Totally.
He had his shifts were shorter. He was engaged. Loved him being on the ice at the end of the game when all hell broke loose and McCabe got his money's worth after Appleton with a little cheap shot after the slash. Thought it was just a good night for Ryan Reaves. So I just wanted to bring that up because it was at top of mind for me. Yeah.
Hey, brother, you can tell what our ages are by starting the show with, hey, here's a barrel, and Ryan Reaves talk over Austin Matthews scoring his 40th goal, the power play getting off the slump, and John Tavares scoring. But okay, let's go to I just want to say this quickly about Matthews, because I actually thought that he had overall one of his not great games. Okay. He had some bad turnovers in this one. I thought he was really sloppy to start the game. To me, the line that was actually really driving them was the Tavares line tonight, where every time they came on the ice, you felt the impact of Bertuzzi and Nylander. And were they perfect? Were there opportunities where I thought that they could have been a little bit more aggressive or made smarter plays? For sure. But this was a pretty uncharacteristic night for Austin Matthews. But the beauty of the milestone of the 40 is just the weight in which it hits you, right? Like we take for granted, I don't want to say for granted Austin Matthews, but his numbers pile up and you go, yeah, we get it. He's got this, he's got that, he's got this, he's got that. We were doing the 50 and 50 and that sort of fade away. Now you go into the All-Star break, this guy's 40 goals. You stare at it, and it's like how I feel right now in the NBA, where guys are scoring things at halftime. It's like Karl-Anthony Towns is 44 at the half, Luka Doncic is 46 at the half. And I'm looking down and going, how is this possible? And that's the way I feel with Austin Matthews heading into the All-Star break. Just wow, unbelievable stuff.
To quote the very famous Ryan Whitney, sick league in the NBA. Really great stuff awful. There. Anyways, yeah, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about Matthews' goal scoring and the fact that he had 39. He was looking for 40 tonight. Remember how excited we used to get about like Phil Kessel getting close to 40 goals?
I don't want to disparage Phil Kessel in the 40
No,
goals.
I'm not. But like that's how starved of goal scoring guys we had on the Leafs for so long, when it was like, oh my God, Phil Kessel's the greatest goal scorer I could ever imagine. Like he flies in off the right wing and he shoots it under the bar. This is the most exciting thing I've ever seen. And now Matthews,
brother, I used to get excited for Jason Blake leading the NHL in shots. I was like, nice. This is a good stat. He's aggressive. He's aggressive.
It's unbelievable. It's otherworldly. It's January 27th, man. He has 40 goals before February.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to comprehend how incredible he is at shooting it in the net. And that goal tonight, like you could have had 2 tendies in there. It's going in. That's top of the key, hard as you can. Yeah. Almost blows it through the net, Shea Weber style. That was as good as it gets. So, really good goal. And like you said, I thought he had a few kind of iffy turnovers throughout the game, specifically one in the first period at the end of a long shift where he stayed out there without his guys, and it ended up in a 2-on-1. This one was not pretty, but there was another one where it ended up in a 2-on-1 with Tavares and Nylander that were out there already. But anyways, it's really awesome watching him score goals. And yeah, that's what he is. He can have a bit of an off night. The puck lands on his stick at the top of the circle. It's going in the back of the net. Yeah,
that's one that he ripped that so hard. I wonder if that actually like that hurts you, no matter how big and illegal Hellebuck's equipment is. Sorry. Still stings to get hit with that one. But yeah, 40 goals in 46 games. It's the fewest games in Leafs history to get 40 goals. Fastest player to reach 600 points. I think that those are some stats that
600. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, fastest to reach 600. Yeah, just incredible stuff for a guy who's probably going to go down if he can notch some wins. Well, yeah, as the greatest Leaf of all time. He needs playoff wins, but yeah, regular season wise, I wonder if he's just.
But how many playoff wins? Like, what are we talking here?
I think he's just going to need a couple, more than one. Okay,
fair.
Like
more than one is
more than one series win, I would say. And I'm not going to compare it to 67 stuff. I think it's too hard to compare those eras to now. But yeah, modern day player. It's going to be really hard to imagine that he's not the guy. Anyway, John Tavares, thank God he scored. And the power play too, getting those 2 goals. Just in terms of taking away the narratives, I don't know what we're going to discuss all week during narrative week now, because the power play that was 1 for 20, they get 2. It's right in the middle of Simpson talking about how this is their last chance before they end up getting broken up. And then they're ripping it around and they score. But I got to say, it's just that they're dangerous when they win the faceoff and they get the cycle going and they're patient. It's just when they get that exit and then they have to re-enter the zone and set up that you don't feel any confidence in it.
Buddy, you're worried about narrative week? You got the NFL conference championship, you got the NBA trade deadline, you got everything. You got a variety show. Yeah. I'm worried about narrative week. Like, what the hell are we going to talk about? Anyways, I hope you like 4 guests a show, Kipper and Bourne. Anyways,
no, subscribe to both podcasts, JD Podcast and
yeah, I think it shows you Tavares, like he doesn't care. Like he's not demonstrative at all when he scores goals. I mean, this guy's looking to the heavens. It's his longest goal scoring drought that he's had his whole career. So meant a lot to him. Great shot by Riley. This is what he does so well when he's on the power play and going. It's just that little filter towards the net. It's what every Leaf fan compares back to Cody Franzen, where he just was really good at snapping it low towards the net. Perfect shot to be tipped. Tavares is fired up. And then they get the 5-on-3 on 2 horrendous calls. The first one on Brody is a dive of all dives. Tiny little push in the back. He goes down. And then the slash on Tavares, where the ref doesn't call it. He leans on his stick and it snaps and he shows it to the ref. He's like, yeah, you're right. I've never seen that. Like, Craig Simpson's called how many games in his career?
Craig Simpson has the most national broadcasts of anybody ever.
Is that true?
And he's just
for good reason.
He's the number.
Man. But like, he was dumbfounded. He literally, it's his job to know what to say, and he didn't know what to say. It was unbelievable. I thought the reffing all night was a little sketchy. We can get into the non-goal or whatever.
It was just weird, man. Like,
that was a weird
let's get
call.
into the non-goal, because just the times that they decided to make some of these calls was very, very, very strange. And I kind of thought both ways, by the way. Like, the ones Toronto got were soft.
Yep.
But I thought the ones that were called the other way, that gave Winnipeg their opportunities to showcase that just moribund power play that they have.
Putrid.
That is the Leafs penalty kill. I wanted to give them credit. I really did, because good for them. They've battled this year. It hasn't been great. It's not one of the better units in the NHL, but that Winnipeg unit, I went, what am I supposed to be afraid of here? Because you're awful. Like, this is just all perimeter, nothing. Leafs easy exits. But let's talk about the non-call. Because Tavares, it's huge for the slump. The power play, good for them for being able to get it done.
Oh, good for you. You had $60 million on the ice, and you were able to put one in the back of the net. Congratulations.
Yeah, for sure. But I do think that if you are someone that, if you're looking at Tavares' regression, this is all I'll say about it to kind of wrap this up.
Yeah.
One is that he hasn't gotten like any power play points this year, because not nearly enough of that, where it's just, hey, Tavares, you stand in front and let's try to get you a tip opportunity, which is something that he's great at. Way more setting up Matthews to try to rip one, Nylander to try to rip one, right?
Yep.
So that's one thing. And two is the positive regression for a guy that has been in the danger areas, has been getting his opportunities, and a lot of them haven't been going in the net. I don't think Tavares has been playing well. I think he's deserved some of the criticism, especially given the money that he makes and the C that's on his sweater. But I also don't think that it's as drastic as some people have been making it out to seem, that, he's just a complete non-entity. And again, I thought that his line was good tonight. Anyways, the non-goal.
Fair.
You know me, I'm an apologist for the goaltenders. I don't know how this is goaltender interference. Like, I understand it because they call it on the ice this way, but like, he gets bumped into him and he gets off of him immediately. I thought this one was going to get overturned, especially when the Leafs lights out video review staff called, and when they made the call, I went, yep, goal. I was shocked. Sheldon Keefe was sour about it too. The shot of him, he was big mad. What did you think about it? I didn't see enough there for that to be goaltender interference, but I totally understand them not overturning it, I guess, when they decided to go to video review, and you just kind of see him that extra. There's two things for me. One is the skate, because it kicks off the pad there, like, and pushes him into the net. And then the other one is he's leaning on him, I think, for a split second too long. I don't like the call live, but I get why they stood with it.
You're allowed to be there, though. Like, you're allowed. You're not. But that's what I mean. Like, I'm not sure what Willie was supposed to do to prevent himself from hitting the goalie. Like, that's what I would have been asking if I was Sheldon Keefe. Like, you're supposed
his
to, like,
front skate starts in the blue paint. Like, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, I know, I understand. But like, it's not, Brett Hall days here. You're allowed to be in the crease.
Yeah.
Right? Like, a goal can go in where you're standing in the crease. That's allowed. It's just, he's cutting the front of the net. He's trying to be a net front presence. And on the first push, he legitimately tries to avoid him. Like, you can tell him trying to avoid the goalie, because he's like, oh, the second push gets him in there. And then Hellebuck kind of has a chance to reset. I don't know. Like, I usually see, like, if I squint, I can usually see the rest perspective on these. I really can. Like, I really don't get too down on these calls a lot, because I feel like once they review them for however long it takes, I do think they usually get it pretty right. But this one, to me, like, especially, did you see the clip of the Hyman one floating around?
No.
Okay, well, there's one from, I forget, it was against Columbus, so 2 games ago, where he's just cutting through the net full speed, and Buddy hammers him into the goalie, and he's like, almost decapitates him, like, takes him out, and the guy shoots the puck in the net, and the rest right there, he's like, he pushed him in. It's like, so if he nudges him off a push, like, the thing that kills me is the inconsistency with these calls. Like, you're just,
that's always going to be the way it is.
That's what I mean. That's what's so frustrating as a fan of this league. It's like, it's always in the eye of the beholder. You're never going to have a consistent thing across the league unless it's one guy making all these decisions in every game ever, which is completely impossible. So it's just, I'm not like going to get bent out of shape about it. It is what it is. The Leafs ended up winning, but like, I get why it's frustrating as a fan, because you're just like, I have no clue, because a different guy's making a choice. That's what it comes down to for me.
To me, it's just more common sense. And like I said, I don't love that the ref called it on the ice, that it was no goal. I would have preferred that it was the other way around, where it was Winnipeg that had to challenge that one, would be like my only gripe.
That's fair.
But what I will say is that, to me, for the good of the game, I don't mind that call for this reason. I don't want to have guys who are defensemen trying to, like, the game is already, sorry to say, to me, in my opinion, getting softer and softer, and there's less contact. Now if you're telling a defenseman that he can't, bump a guy, like if Nylander's allowed to go to that position and you're not allowed to give him a little bit of lumber, like he beats you to the inside, and you push him into the goaltender. You know what I'm saying here? Like,
compelling
if that play is allowed, like, again, this one was borderline to me. This one, I didn't see it as goaltender interference. I would have just said, on the balance of probabilities to me, I would have said that there was enough here where Nylander got off him. He beats him to the spot. He gets bumped into the net. That should have just been a goal. Like, I didn't think that it overly impacted the play. That was like the play wasn't caused by decisions Nylander made in my decision, or in my opinion. But for the good of the game, I would hate to see a situation where now all the time where you see guys bumping the net front presence into the net a little bit, that's always viewed as like a negative play now for the defender. That I think would have a negative impact on the game.
Fair.
Like,
I don't really have a rebuttal.
I think that's side with the D than the offensive player. And every league sides with everything offense now, right? Everything is geared towards offense. And so I guess I don't mind it. I probably would have minded it a little bit more had the Leafs lost.
Or if it was a playoff game.
Oh, if it was, obviously. If it was a playoff game, we would have led with it, and it would have.
we would have been spitting mad about that one.
Yeah. And if you want to be mad about that one, good, because I think being mad at refs and review is one of the actual sneaky fun things about sports, because we can usually all agree on it.
It's one of the most uniting thing about fans. Like that's what still makes it great about arguing about balls and strikes in baseball. That's why like robots are terrifying, because one of the most uniting thing about fans is like, that's down, that ball's down, what are you talking about? And you all get bent out of shape and pissed off about it. It's like, it's a unified thing. That's what sports is all about. So
totally great. So for me, just kind of to wrap some of this up, I thought that the Leafs were dreadful to start the game, like, again, where it was kind of low energy and those same awful turnovers. They came out, they played a really good first half of the second period. And then they sort of faded after the penalties. And then the third, they were just better. They capitalized on their special teams, right? Like that's basically the story of the game to me. We haven't talked about Samsonov yet, but I will just say my one negative thing is, during the broadcast, they Simpson's going, this isn't that hard. You got to be able to clean up some of these turnovers in your own end. And I not as a non-former player, I just got to say, I agree. There's so many of these where it just feels rushed. And they're just soft mental errors. Like, what the hell was that one from Giordano? Like, some of these,
he just fell down.
But that's like, that makes it look worse, right? Because that just looks so ugly. But some of these turnovers, man, are pure lack of attention to detail. And for a team that's been struggling with that like a lot lately, it was a little embarrassing that they came out again tonight and it was just chop the puck around in the D zone, try to get a little too cute with the puck. Soft on plays, soft along the boards, awful decision-making D to D. Like, look at that. It was ugly. And they were lucky that Winnipeg just was only able to put the one goal up off of a turnover. And it did come off of a turnover.
Yeah, it just drives me crazy. Like, I don't have an opinion on it, because it's just like, you guys are better than this. Like, and Simmer is a Stanley Cup champion, 50 goal scorer. Like, he's like, this guy knows hockey. He's called a million games. It's just like, hey, if he says it, I agree with you, Simmer. Again, we're agreeing with him too much tonight, but it's like, just clean it up. Just make a better decision. You're good. Like, you're good enough to do that. That's so uncharacteristic of Gio. Just get it off the glass and out. Like, you're trying to make a play like you're Norris Gio here. You're 40 years old. Like, just get it off the glass. Like I said, I don't really have an opinion. It just drives me crazy. And I know it drives a lot of Leaf fans crazy. It's hard to watch, because sometimes, and it feels like it's just a lot of the time at the start of the game.
Yeah,
like,
dude, not really, feels like, is like,
but is that just recency bias because it's the last two games where they've been brutal? But I do feel like it's happened a lot over this season, where the first 10 minutes of a game, they can't get the puck into their own zone. They're passing it to the other team.
Buddy, it's not recency bias. It's happened the entire West Coast trip. It happened again when they were on home ice, and Sheldon Keefe saying it looked like a team that didn't get off the plane.
Yeah.
Like, we've said it the entire time about this team. Going back to Babcock about starting on time, and whatever it is, they refuse to learn the lesson. And it's fine when you play the Winnipeg Jets and you win this hockey game, but the math is against you when you give up the first goal in hockey.
Yep.
Big time. And so I hated the start again tonight, and it gets washed away because there was exciting stuff later in the game, and Samsonov was good, and Matthews scores a big goal, a milestone goal, and Tavares breaks the slump, and Reaves comes back and has a moment. It's chippy, and so it gets buried, but it's got to be noted. It's got to be noted that yet again, it's just a fumble, bumble, screw up fest in their own end for the first 10 minutes of just about every single game.
Yep.
Anyway.
I know I hate it. I'm
sucks.
sour thinking about it. So let's move on.
Well, last thing for me anyways, because I don't have any other notes other than just Samsonov now in his last 3 games has allowed 3 goals, and he makes another 10-bell save tonight. And he looks completely different in the net. He looks way more aggressive. Like, you can see where he's playing. He's got his feet underneath him. He's tracking every single puck. Whole new man.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, if you listen to my podcast, Luke Fox did a really great job of talking about the week away.
I heard it.
He basically, you heard it?
Yeah.
It was awesome hearing it. That I think Samsonov's dad gets more credit than the Leafs coaching staff. I think his dad basically showed up in town and said, if you don't do this, you're not going to have a career. And since then, it's a movie. Samsonov is a movie right now.
His dad literally said, "You're a man. You're 40."
Yeah. Go out there and play.
You're a child. Like, I love that with Luke. It was so bang on. Like, I don't know. I wish I knew what happened. I guess it's just his dad gets all the credit. I thought
they sat around a vodka bottle and he told him, no more of this feeling sorry for yourself stuff. Get in the net and secure the contract.
I thought there was a moment, maybe a 5-minute stretch after the first one went in, where I had like Columbus flashbacks,
of course,
where he was scrambling and it felt like that first goal really got to him. But then he just really started to settle back in and he looked like himself. And I don't know what point that glove save he made on the semi break was at. I know Jobo just showed it if you're watching on Sportsnet Plus or on YouTube, but right after that save, it really seemed like he settled back in and he was good. Like, I thought, he didn't have to make a ton of 10-bellers other than that one, but he just looked like, capable NHL goalie again. Like, he just looked like a guy that you can win games with again. And I don't think it's clearly not going to be this good for the rest of the season. And I know I'm not breaking any news saying that, but they just needed to get this guy to a point where they can play him. Like, it's like before they sent him down, he was legitimately unplayable. That's why you got sent down. That's why a guy who has pedigree clears waivers. Like, they just needed him to play hockey again. And he's now seems capable. So it's good. So I'm happy for him. 3 good ones. I'd like to see 4 to 5 more good ones before I'm fully all the way back in.
I don't think, I'll tell you this right now. There's no fully all the way back in for me.
That's fair. I think I agree.
I don't think that. I think anytime Samsonov lets in a bad goal for the rest of the season, given how bad we saw it, you're gonna be clenching your butt cheeks as a Leaf fan, going, "Oh no, not again! No, please, no." I just think that he looks amazing.
He does. He looks awesome.
It's not that he's been, like you said, that they just needed to get him up to capable. Everyone would have taken that, but he genuinely looks incredible in the net. And that's the shocking thing, is it's another night where he did it. And I keep expecting, you're right, after he lets in the first goal, I went, all right, well, now let's see how you respond. And he just shuts the door, and they got their chances. And he was nasty for the rest of the night. He makes another huge save, and he's playing out again at the top of his crease, and he's cutting down angles, and he sees everything. He's grabbing it with the glove. This is incredible.
Man. Goalies are weird, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
It's an incredible story. And all I got to say is my only take. I think the break is really well timed for every single Maple Leaf outside
except
of him.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
He wants to, honestly, like, they're probably not getting him through waivers now. Can you get a conditioning stint to get him down to the Marlies to play a game or two during the break?
Money. You still could because the money, but it ain't happening there. Buddy, you got to remember, this is the big positive for Leaf fans. You got a ton of cap space. Everybody's forgot about Klingberg on the island and how much space that is. The Leafs can absorb a ton of money at the deadline this year. They've got big time space. So they're going to carry 3 goalies, and they'll have Martin Jones around the building. I don't think that he'll be getting really any starts. It'll go 1-2 when you get both guys back. But yeah, now too, like, Yarncroc, man, they're not sending him down. There'll be no reason for them to do that, especially if they end up waiving Reaves, which I do think is going to be the ultimate outcome with that player.
Yeah.
That Leafs are going to have a ton of cap. So that's not going to be a worry for them at all heading into the deadline. If anything, that's something you hope that they weaponize.
So I had one thing from this game that this
Sure.
is a very niche Leaf fan memory, but I'm sure you'll remember it. You saw Nino Niederreiter when he was crying to the official after he cross-checked TJ Brody, and he deserved
Nino
to cry.
Niederreiter, worst visor in the league.
Yes, but do you remember in the opening season, Marlowe's first game as a Leaf, when Leo Komarov was still in the Leafs, and they were like, we're cracking down on visors.
Yeah.
And Leo Komarov got a 2-minute minor for his visor.
Yeah, that was the dumbest penalty ever.
Yeah. And as soon as I saw him wearing that visor, it's all I could think of.
Yeah, it's Leo Komarov.
It's Leo Komarov. Give that guy a 2-minute minor.
A lot of throwbacks here tonight. We got a Jason Blake throwback, a Cody Franzen throwback, and now a Leo Komarov throwback, and Phil Kessel. Sorry,
Leafs could use Leo Komarov in his prime right now.
Yeah, they really could. That first year of Leo Komarov was amazing, and with the skates, just
hammering people.
I loved my time with Leo Komarov. I really did. It went classically 1 year too long, where the experience. It went 1 year too long, and it should have been thanks for the memories. And
then Lou took him to the island with him.
Yeah. Lou, by the way, you see the comments on the last Islanders loss in the Twitter sphere. I enjoyed it. I poured a glass of red and I sat on the couch, and I just wanted to subtweet Kevin Papetti, who put his career on the line for this guy a million times over, nonstop. Kevin just went to the wall over and over and over again for Pierre Engvall. And him and Lou Lamoriello got locked in, and it broke his brain because he's like, this is the guy that everybody hates, all the nerds hate, who wanted Pierre Engvall. And he's Islanders public enemy number one.
Poison. Like, oh my God, they're like, can we never see him again? Scratch him.
They hate him. They hate him more than they hate Tavares. Like, it's so bad there. Anyways, yeah.
What was so this is my last thing. Just watched the Penguins and Florida Panthers last night. And I don't watch the Panthers that often. Like, I catch them here and there when it's off night. Leafs can't play that team first round. That is the number one team in the league. I would rather play literally any other team in the first round.
I completely agree.
Leafs
have an infinitely better chance against Boston than they do against Florida.
They play the whole game offended. There is nothing you can do on the ice that doesn't offend them. They are just running into people. Bennett's trying to kill guys the entire game. That Lomberg's in your grill. Bobrovsky looked awesome. It's like, whatever you can do, win games, lose games, whatever you do, get away from that team, because you ain't beating that team.
Bro, do you remember
winning again tonight?
Do you remember last year when the Leafs played that game against the Bruins, where the Bruins played just a perfect game, where they were physical, they were nasty, they were engaged? And I said to you, I hate how jealous I am of their fans that's the hockey they get to watch every night. I would kill. You'd see a Netflix documentary about me, like the guy who killed to watch the Panthers every night. I'd be on there.
Every Leaf fan, if you could blind switch rosters with the Panthers, gone in a second.
No, it's not even
second. Dunzo. That would be the most popular team in the history of Toronto. They would be below.
No question. They would unite us yet again. The passion would be united again with the Florida Panthers. Jobo just put their second in the league with Pims with 621. And they just win, and they're nasty. And
good goalies, awesome decor. Stay away from that team.
Dude, my sneaky confession that I shouldn't say on the show is that I don't think hockey is the best league pass sport. It's just not. It's not. It's nationally flipping game to game. You're not guaranteed to get a good night with a team. It's just not. The Panthers are the number one league pass team.
Best team to watch.
Them and the Oilers are just hey, you can flip this on and you know what you're going to get. Oh, and sorry. And I will say what McKinnon's doing. If it's McKinnon at home, it's like, I got to watch that. Oilers and Panthers. Those are like the three teams that I watch by far the most of in terms of just the casual secondary flip.
Oh, McKinnon's these MVP. He's been unbelievable. Like every night, he's just out of this world good. But yeah,
McKinnon's so good that my thing is genuinely like, if you don't think he's MVP right now, it's just like you're wrong. I shut it down. I'm like, yeah, it's like normally it's like, oh, cool, MVP debates, and I just think if you think it's anybody but him, wrong. And that's with McDavid doing what he's doing right now.
And you mentioned the Oilers last non-Leafs thing. Hey, maybe the great winning streak, but could you maybe play a non-tomato can coming up here? Like, have they played a good team in a week? Like, oh my God, like they win in 15 in a row is incredible. It's like you beat Columbus, you beat Chicago, you beat Nashville. Every time they beat the crappy Flames, it's like, can we play a good team here? And their first game out of the break to tie the record is my Golden Knights. So fired up for that. That's going to be a hell of a game.
I kind of thought they might drop one to the Preds tonight, and then I looked up and it was 3-0, and I was like, oh, yeah, never mind.
Preds gave him a fight, but couldn't get it. Anyways, that's good.
Anyway,
I'm good.
All right. Hit the thumbs up button. Leave 5 stars if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify. Leave a review if you're listening on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sam McKee. Plenty of content on both of our shows this week, but Leafs Talk obviously gone now for a week. Like, there are plenty of stuff on mine. Like, I got Chris Pronger this week.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know what else we got. I can't remember.
Oh, buddy, Chris Pronger talk. Hey, Chris, how soft's the league? Oh, JD, it's soft. It sucks.
Hey, guess what? Don't ruin my show. I already have stuff written down, and that's you. It's like you read my notebook. Chris, don't you think there should be more hits? No joke. One of my questions for him legitimately is, what does it matter if the Leafs go out and try to get another thumper? Like, they already have McCabe and Benoit. Yeah. And it's just like, who's the guy? Who's the guy that you really want to go out and get? It's like, there's one dude with a highlight reel of hits outside of Trouba, and it's Zadorov, and they had a chance to get him, and he's gone. So,
anyway. Shout out Benoit, gets his first goal as a Leaf tonight on a 100-footer. That inspired the boiler.
Snipe. Yeah, loved it. Benny the Butcher dropped the new album. Benoit scores a goal. Not unrelated. Just should be said. Should be said. Should be noted. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.